Hi everyone, thank you for joining in. We are here today at the Private Capital Investment Conference being hosted at the ASX, and I'm delighted to speak with Maria Jose, the managing partner at WNT Ventures, New Zealand's longest running deep tech incubator and VC fund. MJ, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's dive right in. With over a decade of expertise in the deep tech industry, what excites you most about the current landscape of venture capital opportunities in New Zealand?
Thank you for having me, first of all. It's great to be here and sharing some insights about the last decade of investing at WNT Ventures. What excites us right now is seeing the evolution of the landscape since 2014 when we started to what we see now. In 2014, it was a very nascent community, but still very mature. And a lot of the companies were not self-identifying as deep tech or not understanding what it entails to create a breakthrough company. Fast forward to now and what we see to the future. One, there's been several cycles of investing already. We are in our third and currently raising our fourth fund. So we've seen the entire lifetime of a fund, at least one. Right. The second part is there are more founders that have known what success from a New Zealand context looks like. And I'm talking about big companies that have gone offshore, but also a lot of companies that are still doing R&D and growth in New Zealand. And what it does to the ecosystem is recirculates that knowledge, but also recirculates that capital into second-time founders and other entrepreneurs that are coming alongside it. So it's very exciting to see what the next 10 and 15 years will bring.
Amazing. That's great, MJ. Very promising indeed. Now, as a seasoned deep tech investor, what are some key factors that you look for when evaluating potential investments, particularly in the pre-seed and Series A stages?
A lot of what we're looking for at WNT bases around is the right people doing the right thing. When you're investing at the pre-seed and seed stage, we take our companies to Series A, but a lot of the deep tech venture funds focusing on the level of science and the level of entrepreneurship associated with it. But it has to be the right people doing the right thing. And also, does it have a commercial viability? Because there's a lot of science, which is great, but it doesn't necessarily provide the venture returns that as a fund we're looking for. So our commitment is to our LPs to identify those great people doing the great opportunities, but then also nurture them and foster them. Because although there are some repeat entrepreneurs, the majority of the people that we work with is their first time taking this path. Right. So they need guidance. Our team is composed for several members that have operational experience besides fund management experience. And I think that really set us apart into knowing that it factor that the companies that we're working with need to have.
Absolutely. Very insightful points there. Now, WNT Ventures is known as New Zealand's longest running deep tech incubator and VC fund. So could you share some insights into what makes WNT Ventures unique in the venture capital landscape, particularly in New Zealand?
When we started in 2014, it was as a response to the government for the tech incubator program. So the New Zealand government in that time identified that there was a need for more private capital coming into the very early stage, but also to provide more than just the funding, the support, the mentorship, and the guidance to take those companies off the ground. WNT is the only incubator that has had and maintained that partnership over the 10 years of the lifetime of the program, raised 3 funds alongside that, seen companies succeed from the very, very first check where the idea was a benchtop lab research to a multi-million-dollar factory. And I think that really set us apart in the level of diligence. As I mentioned before, our team is comprised by a bunch of operational and fund experience. So we know firsthand what it's like to build a company. We have people alongside us, our networks and our LPs that have done it themselves as well. So the level of rigor that we provide for our diligence and understanding, oftentimes that becomes part of the business plan of the company. We lead the rounds and we take board seats and we provide the guidance and even the sounding board that a lot of founders need because it's a very lonely and difficult road. So our job is to make that job easier for them.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Now, shifting gears a bit, you co-founded a deep tech startup in Chile before transitioning into venture capital in New Zealand. So could you share some lessons or insights you gained from an entrepreneurial journey?
It was very different to what the landscape in Chile looks like now as well. We were the first spin-out of our university. So the university in itself did not know what a spin-out might need to look like. So it's very different to what you see now in Australia and in New Zealand, where universities have dedicated support, incubators, and kind of accelerators internally. We didn't have any of that. But the biggest kind of awakening point for me was as a biotechnology engineer, I was raising capital and talking and connecting with investors that didn't necessarily understand the complexities of the scientific breakthrough that we were working on. So for me, that was the gap that I'm set out to bridge. And I think WNT, alongside even before I joined, the work that Carl and the rest of the team have built to date is precisely that. So I think that for me, the biggest lesson is you need to have an investor that understands the pain points that you've gone through. And the second part is everyone's going to be around you when things are easy. You need to look for a partnership and a long-term partnership when things are going to be tough, and people that know and have navigated kind of similar waters to help you overcome that. Surround yourself with the right people. And that means usually in the context of startups, with the right cap table. And in the context of a fund, it's actually having the structure of the LPs and the network alongside us to provide that right capital structure for the company as well.
Amazing. Very great points there. Now, fostering inclusive innovation ecosystems is a passion of yours, as evidenced by recognition as a New Zealand Women of Influence 2021. So what are some practical steps the venture capital industry can take to promote diversity and inclusion?
I think that a lot of it is seeing and doing. We, for example, not by design, but are now a team comprised of 5 females and 1 guy, making us the most diverse fund in New Zealand as well by team thematic. And then what we've done in our Fund 3 and throughout our 3 funds, we've always gone and looked for what are the best opportunities and the best technologies that we can invest in. As a result of that, our Fund 3 have 70% of diverse founders, and 65% of our companies in our portfolio are led by women or co-led by women. I think that creates a ripple effect. So when you start looking, and we've never been a female-only fund or a diversity lens fund, we just want to invest in the best assets. They just happen to be, in this case, led by women. And I think that once you find one and you start providing the right support, they talk to each other, and then that creates more ripple effect to come and see more opportunities. So I would encourage a lot of fund managers, particularly at the partner level, managing partner level, and director level, to promote within. So actually raise the future generations of limited partners that are going to be investing and looking and allocating capital, but also providing and foster community. Because a lot of times venture in startup scene, it's very community driven. So you can't break into that place when you don't have a seat at the table. So I think that is our responsibility as capital allocators to provide that pathway for others.
Absolutely. Wonderful, MJ. Now, finally, as we conclude this interview, and we're here today at the Private Capital event, it would be great if you could share some insights. So how's it been for you being here at the conference? Any key takeaways or highlights that you'd like to share?
I think that for me, the biggest insight always comes from seeing how similar and different the New Zealand and Australian landscape look like. We always compare each other. And I think that every time that I've come to the events, I see that the challenges and opportunities that have startups across the niche are largely the same, that there's a range of opportunities for collaboration, because it's all about the network effect. And that this is the type of what Wholesale Investor provides, is that platform of community and connections. And then the third part is understanding when investing in the right asset class and how to take advantage of the size of economic downturn to how that is the time for us to mint what is going to be the next breakthrough innovations in our case. So for us, it's a really exciting opportunity to invite new limited partners to join us. As someone that has that track record, seeing what we've done in New Zealand and seeing how the Australian ecosystem is growing as well, it's really exciting to see what the next 10 years might bring.
Amazing. That's wonderful, MJ. It truly has been such a delightful conversation with you today. And for our audience members, thank you for tuning in. We hope you found this interview as insightful as we did. I look forward to seeing you all in my next interview. Once again, thank you, MJ.
Thank you.